Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Boy, we've already breezed in 2 segments. Where does the time come? I mean, it seemed like yesterday I was 22.
And just like you said,
now I shoot
this
22.
is, just like you said, this is the fastest 90 minutes
in outdoor radio. I know that, and we got a guy on the line that knows about lines, so to speak.
He knows a lot about fishing line.
Yeah, we're glad to have Brian Evans. He is assistant marketing manager for Seaguar. It includes all their pro staff, and you can go to seaguar.com for all the information. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, love to talk fishing line because you talk about, everybody says, electronics. Yes, that's a big change. Yeah. But when I grew up, we only had one fishing line and a pole, too. I got to admit that,
Wait a minute. Back in your days, Larry.
Days.
That was Dacron fishing line.
That's
probably.
Exactly right, yeah.
Is that not right?
That's right, yeah. And I wish I still had some more of that, but I'd rather have this line. Anything's called Smackdown, I'm ready for it, so. So tell us, Brian, what's going on? I know you guys, as Ron has told me, about the Smackdown, and I'm big on names and stuff like that, and when Smackdown kind of grabbed Stealth Gray. Now, what was that other one you talked about, Ron?
Oh, they've got the Rippin' monofilament.
That's it, the Rippin' monofilament. Yeah, okay.
And of course, they have the new Finesse fishing line, which is some awesome fishing line. Oh. And you know how most fishing lines, well, all of them are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20-pound test line. Well, the Seaguar Finesse line is how much? 6.4, 7.3, 8.4 pound lines.
Really?
They have done such a good job in.
Hey, Jet, Brian's already heard all this. Now, you're just bringing up some of his stuff here. You're taking his thunder away. So, hey, Brian, talk to us about how long have you been with the company?
I've been with the company for about 5 years now.
Oh, you've seen some changes. And where do you live?
I actually live in Metro Atlanta.
Okay. All right, Metro Atlanta. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Everything's Metro Atlanta. It goes from the south to the north. You think you're in Metro Atlanta for about 9 hours driving through there. But,
exactly.
Talk about the company.
Oh, so Seaguar has been around since 1971, and we are the inventors of fluorocarbon fishing line.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yep.
And fluorocarbon fishing line has, in recent years, exploded for numerous reasons. Fluorocarbon is virtually invisible underwater. It's a lot more sensitive because it doesn't have the stretch like a monofilament does.
Yeah.
It's also more abrasion resistant and better impact strength. So a lot of those reasons people have gone to fishing fluorocarbons. With that said, there is a lot of fluorocarbons out there in the market. People may have tried another brand fluorocarbon and may not have liked it for one reason or another. Seaguar is the only company out there who makes fluorocarbon resins and extrudes it into fishing line. No other company can do that. They're having to buy the resins from somewhere else, which means we can create resins for the fishing application for attributes that a fisherman may want, such as something that's more supple that you can use on a spinning reel.
Yeah.
Or something that's got incredible knot strength and impact strength, like our flipping fluorocarbon. We can create different things.
Okay, keep rolling. I love names. That's my dream of a lifetime is to name lure colors, lure names, and fishing names. Smackdown's cool.
Smackdown's one of our braided lines.
Yes.
So with fluorocarbons, there's all different things out there, and that's what makes us the leader for the fluorocarbon business. Now, Smackdown, we strive to be performance fishing line, the best fishing line out there. There's a ton of braided lines out there. There's a ton of them. But our Smackdown is it's an 8-strand braid, and it's ultra thin, and it's a tight weave diameter. So the benefit to that is it's going to cast better. You get about 15% better casting distance with it. You eliminate that rod noise to it. and because it's braided line, it's very sensitive. A few minutes ago you were talking about the stealth gray and the flash green.
Yeah.
So, we offer those two colors because, sometimes you might be fishing vegetation and you might just tie a jig directly to that stealth gray color, and it just appears natural in the water. But other times you might be using a spinning reel. In my case, if I'm using a spinning reel, I've got that flash green tied on and a fluorocarbon leader, and I'm watching my line. If I make a cast out and let that lure drop, sometimes you get bit on the fall, and you'll see that line make a sudden movement that's distinct, that's different than just a line with a bait falling. So it helps you pick up extra bites.
Well, I know I'm looking at you got a pretty impressive list of pro staff people too, and I know that's part of your job there. I'm seeing this name Seaguar more and more. I know you've been there just 5 years, but as I've told Ron many times, when someone will win, they'll say what they've got and what they use, and they'll list their sponsors. I can't believe how many times somebody using your line is in that winner's circle. And I know that's not easy to do, but the pro staff itself is pretty impressive.
It is an impressive pro staff, and we're very proud to have each and every one of them. They do a great job, and our pro staff, those are guys that, sought to partner up with Seaguar because that's what they were using and that's what they're believing in. It's not a situation where Seaguar has looked at these guys and been like, hey, dangle a carrot in front of your face, if you will, to use our product. It doesn't go that way. These are all people that have been using Seaguar and have worked their way up to the level that they're at. With our pro staff.
Some of the young ones, too, are checking on. And
well, Larry, a lot of the pros there for Team Seaguar, we've had them here. Denny Brower, Shaw Grigsby, Mark Rose, Chris Zaldane,
Brandon
Keith
Polinick,
Combs,
Brandon. Yeah, I mean, we
Mark Menendez, Mark
well,
Davis.
Oh, let's send out a cheer to Mark Menendez right now. I'm telling you, the old guy is still fishing hard.
And
you
Mark
know that?
Davis is too.
Yeah,
and all these guys we've had on the show here, and I have to tell you, you look at what Seaguar's doing. It's much like what we talk about. The Lewis family, the Strike King family, the Seaguar is a family also.
Yeah, it is, and I know that by looking up the pro staff, which I did, Brian, and I can imagine how many. Does anybody ever contact you about being a pro staff member? That's a tough job. I don't want that job, okay? So I'm asking you right now because the names that you have. They just stand out, and like you said, there's so many other in the industry, but they're going to your company because I see more and more winter circle people. So I know. Will any of your pro staffs be at the Classic?
Oh yeah, we'll have a lot of pros at the Classic.
See there, Ron? I told you that. Yep. Ron will be there. He'll be the guy with the cigar, not in his mouth, not the name.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But and again, we're talking to Brian Evans. He's assistant marketing manager for Seaguar and also their pro staff and Seaguar.com. And we're on a rainy day. I think it's rained so much here, Brian, that I think somebody told me they saw a car pulling a boat a boat pulling a car the other day. So,
hey, Brian, while we have a little bit of time left, tell all of our listeners about the new packaging that you guys are coming out with.
Yeah, so right now we're starting to ship out to our distribution and to the bigger retail chains. Our new packaging initiative. And basically, it's just to clean up our packaging, but they're all going to be the same colors as our old packaging. It's just going to say Seaguar on the front, and then it will have our fish, and then it'll have Invisex or Brazex, and it's all going to be horizontally written as opposed to before. Some of it was vertical, some of it was horizontal. It was a little bit all over the place. It's just going to be consistent, nice, neat, bright colored packaging, so it'll stand out for you.
Yeah, I went to the web. Ron's handed me the web your website with the freshwater lines and flipping. That sounds pretty good for me. When it comes on the red label, and they're all so colorful.
But you guys have different kinds of fluorocarbon lines for different applications, but also for those that are budget-minded or just getting into fluorocarbon, you've got all different kinds of fluorocarbon there. Tell our listeners why you get either the Red Label, the Invisex, Abrazex, or Tatsu, or any of those lines.
Absolutely, and that's a great question because we do offer fluorocarbons for each level of angler, if you will. Starting off, Red Label, that is our entry level fluorocarbon, and it's one of our best selling fluorocarbons. It's 100% fluorocarbon, so you still get that virtually invisible underwater. It's an extremely strong product.
Yeah.
The only downside, if you will, is, to me, I would prefer something more supple, a little bit more softer to use on a spinning reel.
Okay.
If you're just fishing it on a bait casting reel, throwing a jerk bait or fishing a jig, maybe a spinner bait, something like that, Red Label's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's an extremely strong product. Stepping up from that is Invisex, and that's probably our number one selling fluorocarbon.
Yes.
It's been out the longest. That's what most anglers use. It's 40% more supple than compared to fluorocarbon.
Really?
So
Okay.
that's something that you get that strength with, but you also get the suppleness with it.
All these
you can use it on your spinning reel, or you can use it on your bait casting reel.
Do all these hold 150 yards? I mean, is that is that
150 to 250 yards depending on the spool.
Okay, y'all hear that out there, listeners? That means this is durability. They made something so good that you use it too long. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And
then you got your Abrazex.
Yeah, the Abrazex. I saw that.
Yeah, and Abrazex, it's kind of good, better, best. Or if you think of like GM, you've got the Chevy family of cars, you got the GM family of cars, and you got the Cadillacs. It's there's different ones for each level.
Yeah.
The Abrazex is going to be a step above Invisex, so it's going to offer, as the name would say, more abrasion resistance, but also it's going to maintain that suppleness. Now, in the past, people associated abrasion resistance as like a tough line with a lot of memory, and that's not the case.
Right.
The Abrazex is very abrasion resistant, but yet very supple, and that's what Jordan Lee was using to fish the Classic on Conroe and won with.
Okay.
And then you go to your Tatsu.
Yeah, Tatsu. Tatsu is the flagship fluorocarbon.
Flagship.
And what makes that special is it takes two of our custom proprietary fluorocarbon resins and extrudes it into one single piece of line. So it's not a line with a coating over it.
No.
It's extruded into one single piece of line. Now, Seaguar is the only company capable of doing that. Nobody else does that. They do copolymer lines. So what that does is it gives you a blend of these resins that gives you the best of both worlds. It's incredibly abrasion resistant. It's very supple. It's smooth casting. Extremely tough. Great knot strength. A lot of people refer to it as crack or heroin because once you try it, then it puts everything else to shame. And I know Ron is a big fan of the Tatsu product.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you, Brian, being on the air with us this morning. You need to talk to Brian. We need to get some line for the wild game dinners.
Okay.
We're going to work on that.
Sure can.
Get us some fishing line. And I know Ron's going to ask you, what's our last question?
If somebody wants more information about Seaguar and all of its wonderful products, where do they go, Brian?
Seaguar.com, or you can check us out at Seaguar Fluorocarbon on Facebook and also Fish Seaguar on Instagram.
Well, buddy, we appreciate you taking time on this Saturday morning to be on with us from Outdoors with Larry Ray. We'll stay in touch because Ron, he's always traveling. He needs fishing line just to know where he's going and where he has to go back to,
Yeah, we cross paths often.
Yes, we do.
Bless your heart. Okay. All right, Brian, have a great day, all right?
All right, thank you.
All right, let's take a break, come back and talk about big events coming up at Germantown Baptist Church. Be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.